called PE, the Friendly City. And his name is JJ, but he's not from PE anymore. He's now a Cape Townian. Hello, JJ.
Hello, Janine. Thank you for having me.
And how are you doing this fine day?
I'm actually doing very well. Thank you so much. I trust everything is well that side.
Of course, yeah, here in Gauteng, we fake the smiles until, until we're happy. JJ, let's start there right at the beginning. You were born in Port Elizabeth. Give me a little bit of your background.
So I was born in Port Elizabeth in 1984 and then attended school in Uitenhage at Daniel Pienaar. And then I became saved in, I think, 2000 or 2008.
So when you say you got saved, how did it happen?
I remember my sister went to the hospital. I think she had kidney problems, and I didn't know Jesus at the time. And I remember this nurse coming into the room and asking me if she can pray for her, for healing and so forth. And my sister was actually healed about 2 days after the prayer, and God just came through. And she invited me to church one day, and I encountered worship for the first time. And I was so overwhelmed by what was happening. And I remember the pastor asking if anyone would like to give their lives to Christ. And I didn't know what that meant, but I just felt a strong calling to offer myself. Yeah, to offer myself to the school.
Sure. It says in your bio that you still speak Xhosa, so that means you must have been in PE for a long time.
So I want to know the basics, like, hey, how are you? And
Molo
just to get me
sapila,
by.
hindi sapila, David.
Yeah, just enough to get me by and to sit in conversations. But I love the language, and I would really love to learn more about it.
So when did you move to Cape Town then?
I moved to Cape Town in 2009, I think. Yeah, 2009.
Oh, just after you
Yeah.
got saved. God first wanted you to get saved before he moved you to Cape Town.
Yeah. So I think it was in 2000. Yeah. Sorry. I think it is in 2000.
Okay, and then, but why? Why did you move to Cape Town? What's wrong with PE?
Um, I moved to Cape Town. I knew that I wanted more out of life. I wanted more out of where I was. And I knew that where I was wasn't where God wanted me. But I didn't also know what it was. I
Mm.
just knew that I wasn't meant to be there at that time.
What age were
And
you?
so I think I was at 25 or 6.
Oh, okay, so all adult and everything. You could move on your own, in other words.
Yeah. So I basically just packed up my clothes and just moved to Cape Town.
As easy as that. Were you already a musician then?
I wrote songs and I knew only 4 chords, which was enough to encounter God.
It's quite enough, yeah.
Yeah, I've always written music, so that was part of my journey. Yeah.
So the music part of it was even before you got saved.
No, it actually happened. I remember I became saved and I started reading the Bible, and I just felt like I needed to learn an instrument. And my dad was a musician, so it was just a natural drawing for me to learn the guitar. And I put the melodies that I learned with scripture, and it just opened up a new sense for me and a new feeling for me. And so that's where the songwriting developed. Yeah.
Wow, but that's an awesome way to read scripture or to learn the scripture, get it internalized, is to set it to music.
Yeah.
Was that intentional or was it just something that happened naturally?
The fact that I wanted to be intentional to learn the guitar, but it was also a form of like my expression to speak to God
Mm.
and my connection to Him. So I would write songs or I would write letters to God, and I was going through a very difficult time after I became saved. And it was just moving to me how this was my escape, this was my place of refuge. And so writing songs and just connecting with God through music, yeah.
Your safe place, your happy place. Why did you choose the guitar?
I think it's because of my father. My father was more a musician and he played the guitar very well and the keyboard or piano. And so, any son would like to be like his father.
Did you ever play together?
No, actually, never. Yeah. Christmas times would be times when he'd play the keyboard or the guitar and we'd worship together. But yeah, we have two different styles. So
Hey, different styles work together well if they really different.
yeah, so true.
You
So
tell your
true.
dad there's a lady in Pretoria that says the two of you should try this. Just jamming together for once. Okay, so
Wow.
now I'm also curious. You were saying that after you got saved, you went through a hard time. Like what happened?
Okay, so I became saved, and my parents divorced when we were very young, and I had the responsibility of looking after my mom and my sisters. So I had to leave my studies and pursue work, and so I went to go and work in retail. So, but I always wanted to study music, and so that wasn't part of my journey. And
Mm.
I had the responsibility of making sure that finances was coming in, and my mom became very ill. So for me, it was difficult to be a child or to be a almost adult,
And you see
but
your
having to
dreams
deal with,
slipping away.
yeah.
Sure.
And
And then when you got to the
so
Cape, it seems you you like living life dangerously. When I look at this head-on collision that you went through, you nearly missed it all
yeah,
then.
yes, yeah. So the head-on collision was just a confirmation that God has a bigger plan and a bigger picture for my life.
Okay, tell the people what happened.
So in 2013, I was in a head-on collision. We were on our way from Saldanha. We were just finished a job there, and on our way back to Cape Town. The accident actually happened 2 months before we were supposed to get married. So another vehicle lost control, and we were involved in a head-on collision. So my passenger passed away, and the two occupants of the other vehicle also passed away. And so
Sure.
I was the only survivor.
Survivor.
I sustained multiple injuries, and I remember being put into a medical induced coma and also being airlifted to the hospital. But while I was in the coma, the feedback that I got from many people was that the doctors prepared my family for the worst and said that, I wasn't going to make it, and that, that they should prepare themselves for the worst, yeah. But I was surrounded by prayer warriors and people that needed to tap into a different level of faith, to call me back from death's door. But during the accident, I remember feeling cold and afraid and alone. And I asked God for peace, and I asked Him to prepare my spirit for if it was my time for me to be with Him.
Sure.
And just as I finished prayed, I remember this woman just putting a hand on my shoulder. I remember just feeling, that God is with me now. Yeah, just a sense of peace when she put her hand on my shoulder. And I remember her telling me that it'd be okay.
You.
I don't need to be afraid.
Hmm.
And I just knew that God is in charge now. Yeah.
So, when you were in a coma, did you hear the other people? I'm always curious about what you experience while you're in something that actually removes you.
No. So for a week of my life, I cannot recall
It's just
or give
gone.
any recollection. Yeah.
Sure.
But so much happened in that week. Like just the testimonies and from friends and family.
So, was there any
Uh,
damage?
yes, so I sustained a head injury. I sustained a collarbone injury and my forearms, my hip, and my femur, my knee, and my ankle, my left ankle.
Yo. It's shorter to
So
list the
they
stuff
call,
that wasn't affected.
yeah, so they call me the robot man.
Oh, you full of iron or stuff.
Yes.
You beep when you go through the beepers.
Part of my life.
Yes, but you must have thought, especially if your arms were affected and you had a head injury and all of that, you must have wondered if the music was now lost as well.
Yeah, so after the accident, I really went through what they call post-traumatic stress
Mm.
and depression, and the attacks was really strong and heavy. And I thought, okay, I went through this miracle and I thought, okay, I'm now on a different level with God and I'm experiencing a different level of faith. But it actually went into the opposite. And I felt myself just going into this deep, deep hole of depression and anxiety and fear. And all those things just consumed me. They came in like a flood. And I remember just there was a shift in that point where I just started writing again, just started praying in a different way. That moved my thinking. You know, what I thought was I had to go through all of these things to allow myself to speak from a point of that I needed to go through these things. But obviously, I only thought of this after going through it. And yeah, so God just gave me a different perspective as well of who He is and where He can take you from, like from the deepest of deep, you know, just to show you that He's in control.
Well, he's in control to the extent that you're now married to Kim. You've got 2 kids. Next one due early 2020. So life has taken a wonderful direction. Hey, where did you meet Neville D?
I met Neville D. He had a songwriting session once at CCFM, and I went to this songwriting session, but there wasn't initial contact. Then I remember after the accident and after being married and having my son, I felt that, okay, it is time now for me to pursue this. And so I had 2 songs, and I went to a recording studio, Digital Forest, and I asked them, look, I have these songs recorded on my phone, and I really would like to record this, and I would like a full band and so forth. And they said they wouldn't be able to help me, but they know of someone. And so they connected me with Neville D. And so when Neville D heard the song, he was really impressed and said, okay, look, I need to connect with you and let's talk about the way forward.
Sure. It must be a big boost for your self confidence if a guy as successful as Neville D listens to your song and he says, and I was hooked. It's got to do you well. So tell us about this song. We're going to play the song now so that we can hear what you sound like, your singing voice sounds like, and everything. But what's the story behind the song?
So Messiah King was birthed after watching Passion of the Christ. I was really moved by what people were doing to this person that I really loved. And I was moved by the fact that they didn't know what they were doing. I was moved by the fact that he displayed a love that's beyond our understanding. And so Messiah King is a celebration of who God is. You know, it's a celebration that He rose from death, that in victory, and that nothing could even overcome Him, and that He overcome the world. The chorus basically speaks about the miracle that took place within my personal life, you know, saying, for who is like the God who rose in power and in strength. And it's that God that performs these miracles, you know, that shows just a touch of the kingdom. And I felt that I really wanted to celebrate Christ and celebrate this miracle performing God.
We're going to get to this song shortly. I just want to find out, do you perform all over the country or how does this now work?
So the plan is to start performing all over the country, just allowing God to let it work and do what He needs to do within our city and within our communities and within our country.
Do you just sing this one song or do you do worship sets? If you come and worship at a congregation, what can they expect?
I would do the song, but I also do like worship sets.
And if people want to contact you, maybe book you, get hold of you to come to their place, how do they do that?
So they can follow me on Instagram at Jacques Music 01, at Jacques Music 01, and they can just drop me a message in there or even just give me a call.
Okay, and social media like Facebook, Twitter, all of those places?
Facebook, I have a page called JAY, so that's JJ.
Yeah.
And they can drop a message there as well if they'd like to contact me.
There you have it, at Jacques Music 01. And that is on Instagram, and then on Facebook, JJ. It's his page. You can get hold of the man here. But let's listen to the song. It's called Messiah King. Get your feet dancing because I promise you're not going to be able to sit still.